Hello, happy Wednesday. It is noon on Wednesday, April 8th. I think that's the right date. And we are here for our midday scripture and poetry reading. And I do have a poem picked out for you today. Hello to whoever just started watching. It's good to be here with you. I apologize in advance if today's scripture is kind of a rambling mess, but I wanted to revisit a familiar story to many of us, because I've heard a lot of people say over the last several weeks that they wonder if maybe the period of time that we're in right now with the Covid-19 virus might be some sort of divine punishment, and that's not the theology that I subscribe to. It's not the theology that Pastor Bill subscribes to either. And so I thought that we would revisit the story of Noah and the ark, and sort of discuss how God has chosen to interact with humanity as a result of that story. So I'm not going to read the whole story because it's pretty long, and I think that people kind of know how it goes. We'll do a little recap here. So humanity was not doing so hot. God was not pleased with how things were going, and so God decided to send a flood to wipe out humanity. But Noah was the one righteous man on earth, and so he was chosen to build an ark and take his family, 2 of each animal, and they all loaded up the ark, and God sent the rain, and for 40 days and 40 nights it rained on the earth and flooded, and every creature, every human, every living thing was wiped out except for Noah and his family and the animals on the ark. And so finally the rain had cleared, and Noah sent a dove out to see if the coast was clear, and sure enough, after a while the dove came back. And so, the dove came back. They knew it wasn't time yet. They sent the dove out again later, and it didn't return, so they knew that the dove had found land to live on. So the coast was clear. They got off the ark. They get off the ark. Noah builds an altar to God, and God is pleased with that. So we are going to read from Genesis 9 what God has to say in response to Noah's faithfulness and his altar that he builds when they get off the ark. So this actually starts in chapter 8. This is Genesis chapter 8, verse 21. And when the Lord smelled the pleasing odor, the Lord said in his heart, I will never again curse the ground because of humankind, for the inclination of the human heart is evil from youth, nor will I ever again destroy every living creature as I have done. As long as the earth endures, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night shall not cease. So God realizes that, even though humankind wasn't doing what they were supposed to, they weren't righteous, that's the nature of humans. We have a tendency to make selfish choices, and it's hard for us to behave perfectly, as we saw in the Garden of Eden. So God has come to terms with that, and has promised to not punish humanity for their nature. Then if we go down to chapter 9, verse 8, I'll read some more of that. Then God said to Noah and to his sons with him, As for me, I am establishing my covenant with you and your descendants after you, and with every living creature that is with you, the birds, the domestic animals, and every animal of the earth with you, as many as came out of the ark. I establish my covenant with you that never again shall all flesh be cut off by the waters of a flood, and never again shall there be a flood to destroy the earth. God said, This is the sign of the covenant that I make between me and you and every living creature that is with you. For all future generations, I have set my bow in the clouds, and it shall be a sign of the covenant between me and the earth. When I bring clouds over the earth and the bow is seen in the clouds, I will remember my covenant that is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh. And the waters shall never again become a flood to destroy all flesh. When the bow is in the clouds, I will see it and remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is on earth. God said to Noah, "This is the sign of the covenant that I have established between me and all flesh that is on the earth." The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. So we have a very real and visible sign in our natural world, even to this day, that God has made a covenant with us. When we see a rainbow, we can remember that once God was, reacting to humanity in a way that was scary. But this day, we know that God no longer punishes us in that way, that God has promised to care for us and forgive us. And so when something bad happens, we can remember that it's not a punishment from God, it's an act of nature, and that God is there with us to help us through that tragedy. So that's what I wanted to share with you today from our scripture. Hopefully that's helpful for some of you who might have been, wondering what the meaning of all of this is. Well, the meaning of it is just that we live in a biologically complex world, and sometimes that creates trouble for us, but God is always with us. And I have selected a poem today. This one is an older poem. It comes from the poet William Blake, who lived from 1757 to 1827. And it's about Jesus, and it's called The Lamb. Little lamb, who made thee? Dost thou know who made thee? Gave thee life and bid thee feed by the stream and o'er the mead. Gave thee clothing of delight, softest clothing woolly bright. Gave thee such a tender voice, making all the vales rejoice. Little lamb, who made thee? Dost thou know who made thee? Little lamb, I'll tell thee. Little lamb, I'll tell thee. He is called by thy name, for he calls himself a lamb. He is meek and he is mild. He became a little child. I a child and thou a lamb. We are called by his name. Little lamb, God bless thee. Little lamb, God bless thee. During Holy Week, we remember that Jesus came to us meek and mild in human form and sacrificed himself as a lamb. So I thought that poem was appropriate for this week. It is Holy Wednesday. Tomorrow is Maundy Thursday. Pastor Bill and I are working on a Maundy Thursday video, so that we'll have that up in the evening. I'm going to go ahead and say that we will have it posted at 6 p.m. I'm just making that decision right now. So you can watch for that tomorrow at 6 p.m. And then Friday, at this point, I'm pretty sure that we are going to come to you live on Friday for our Good Friday video. So I'll have more information for you probably this evening about timing for that. Until this evening, I hope that you all have a wonderful afternoon. It is hot and humid out there, so if you want to get outside, go for it, but I don't blame you if you want to stay in today. If you have any questions, concerns, prayer requests before tonight, send them my way. Otherwise, I will see you back here at 8 p.m. Have a good day. Bye-bye.